My name is Elena Foster, and what I'm about to share with you changed every single thing I thought I knew about life, death, and the forces at work around us that we so often ignore. Before this experience, I was a practical person, firmly rooted in my career as a schoolteacher and the predictable rhythm of daily life. While I had a faith of sorts, it was the quiet kind, prayers whispered in moments of need and occasional Sunday mornings at church when life wasn't too hectic. But on November 2nd, 2023, I died for 6 minutes and 17 seconds. What happened during that time has forever shifted how I see the world, and how I live in it. It was a brisk autumn morning in Charleston, South Carolina. The air was crisp, carrying that faint scent of fallen leaves, and the sky was painted in pastel streaks of pink and lavender as the sun climbed into view. I remember marveling at how beautiful the world looked that morning, even as I rushed to prepare for the day ahead. I was running a little late, which wasn't unusual. My third graders were rehearsing for a Thanksgiving play, and I'd promised to arrive early to help them practice. I grabbed my bag, a thermos of coffee, and a stack of construction paper for last-minute set changes before hurrying out the door. My husband, Sam, called after me to remind me about dinner plans that evening. I barely heard him as I slid behind the wheel of my trusty blue sedan and started the drive to work. The radio hummed in the background, tuned to a station that played a mix of hymns and soft pop. As I crossed the familiar bridge that connected my neighborhood to downtown Charleston, an old hymn came on, "Abide with Me." I remember humming along, the words barely registering, and then, nothing. The next thing I knew, I was floating. I was no longer in my car. I was no longer anywhere I recognized. Instead, I was above the scene of an accident. My accident, I realized in stunned disbelief. Below me, my car lay crumpled against the concrete divider of the bridge, steam rising from the wreckage. A delivery truck had collided with it, leaving shattered glass and twisted metal in its wake. I should have felt fear or panic, but I didn't. Instead, an overwhelming peace enveloped me, deeper than anything I'd ever known. It wasn't just a lack of fear, it was the presence of something infinitely more profound, love. As I looked down, I saw people rushing to the scene. A man in a navy jacket was on his phone, probably calling 911. Another woman knelt near my car, trying to see if I was still alive. But my attention quickly shifted away from the chaos below because I wasn't alone anymore. They appeared as lights at first, shimmering and ethereal, surrounding the scene like a protective barrier. It took me a moment to understand what I was seeing: angels. Not the kind from paintings or storybooks, but beings of indescribable beauty and radiance. Their presence filled the space with a sense of awe and reassurance, as if nothing could harm me here. One of them stepped forward, or rather, drew closer. It's hard to explain movement in that place because it didn't happen in the way we understand. This angel, if I can even call it that, felt like pure light and warmth. It didn't have a solid form, but I could sense its features shifting, like the flicker of sunlight on water. "Elena," it said, though not in words. The communication was direct, like a wave of understanding flowing into me. Before I could respond, another presence joined us, a figure whose light felt even more familiar. My guardian angel, I realized, though I hadn't consciously thought about such things in years. "You've always known me," the angel said, its voice like a melody that resonated in my soul. "I've been with you since your first breath. And now, I'll show you the truth you've always felt but could never quite see." I nodded, or at least, I had the sense of nodding. In that instant, the scene shifted, and we began a journey through my life. The first thing I saw was myself as a child, no older than 3, toddling across the living room floor. I was clutching a small toy when I reached for something else, a penny I'd found on the carpet, which I was about to put in my mouth. My guardian angels stood beside me, radiating a gentle light. With a slight motion, they directed my gaze back to the toy, sparing me from a potential choking hazard. It was such a small moment, one I never would have remembered, but it struck me how many of these moments must have filled my life. My angel showed me more, times when I narrowly avoided accidents, when sudden instincts or gut feelings led me to make choices that kept me safe. I saw myself as a teenager, arguing with my parents about curfew. I'd been planning to sneak out and go to a party with a friend who had a reputation for reckless behavior. That night, I'd suddenly felt a wave of unease, an unshakable sense that something wasn't right. I ended up staying home. Now I saw what I couldn't see then, my angel standing between me and the door, their presence subtly influencing my decision. But it wasn't just the big moments. My guardian angel showed me how they worked in the small, everyday details of my life. I watched as they inspired kind thoughts in the people around me when I was having a hard day. I saw them guiding me toward books, conversations, and opportunities that shaped my path in ways I'd never recognized. The most humbling part was seeing how often they worked through others. Teachers who had believed in me, friends who had offered encouragement at just the right time, strangers whose simple kindnesses had lifted my spirits. All of these were part of a vast, interconnected plan. And then the scene shifted again. Now, my guardian angel said, "I'll show you the greater battle. What follows is difficult to put into words, but I'll do my best." I saw layers of reality unfolding before me, each one more intricate than the last. Our physical world, the one we see and touch, is just the surface. Beneath it were realms of light and shadow, where spiritual forces worked tirelessly to influence our lives. In one layer, I saw angels like my guardian, their light piercing through darkness. They weren't fighting with weapons, but with something much more powerful: love, truth, and hope. Against them were forces of darkness, shadows that twisted and writhed, seeking to harm, deceive, and destroy. These battles weren't abstract. I saw how they played out in our world. Angels worked to protect people during accidents, illnesses, and disasters, guiding them to safety or giving them the strength to endure. They inspired acts of courage and kindness, countering the despair that the dark forces tried to sow. I watched as they worked in hospitals, standing by patients' bedsides, comforting the dying, and strengthening the weak. I saw them guiding doctors' hands during surgeries and whispering insights into the minds of nurses, like an invisible support team working behind the scenes. My guardian angel turned to me and said, "Your work as a teacher has been a partnership with us." Many times, when you felt compelled to speak words of encouragement to a struggling student or adjust your lesson plan on a whim, that was us working through you. I was stunned by the revelation. My role as a teacher, something I had always thought of as purely earthly, was part of this celestial partnership. Every encouraging word I had spoken to a struggling child, every moment I had chosen patience over frustration, was influenced by forces far greater than myself. I saw moments from my classroom unfold before me like a tapestry, each thread woven with love and purpose. There was Emily, the shy girl who barely spoke during her first months in my class. I saw how my guardian angel had whispered encouragement to me, inspiring me to pair her with a kind-hearted boy who helped her feel included. By the end of the year, Emily had blossomed, her laughter filling the room. I never realized then that I was an instrument of something greater, a conduit for divine love reaching through the veil to touch another soul. As these scenes played out, my heart swelled with gratitude, but also humility. How many moments had I missed? How many times had I ignored those subtle nudges, too preoccupied with my own concerns to act on them? The atmosphere shifted, and my guardian angel's light seemed to dim slightly. I sensed no fear, only a somber weight as we entered a darker plane. Before me stretched a desolate landscape, shrouded in gray mist. Figures wandered aimlessly, their faces etched with sorrow and confusion. "Who are they?" I asked, though I somehow already knew. "These are the lost souls," my angel explained. "They are not condemned, but they are trapped, unable to see the light, weighed down by their choices and their pain." I was drawn to one figure, a man sitting on the ground with his head in his hands. His form was faint, almost translucent, as if he were fading into the mist. I knelt beside him, though I wasn't sure if he could see me. "What's keeping him here?" I asked. "Guilt," the angel replied. "He believes he is beyond redemption, so he cannot accept the light that surrounds him. The love of the divine is always reaching for him, but he has closed himself off from it." I wanted to reach out, to tell the man he wasn't alone, but my angel gently stopped me. "You cannot force someone to see the light. They must choose it for themselves." We moved through the realm, and I saw others in similar states. Some were consumed by anger or regret, while others seemed paralyzed by fear. Yet even here, hope was not absent. Beings of light moved among the lost souls, their presence a quiet reminder that redemption was always possible. From the shadows, we ascended into a realm bathed in soft, golden light. It felt like stepping into a vast library, though there were no walls or shelves, only an endless expanse of knowledge and understanding. Souls here radiated a calm, focused energy as they absorbed the lessons of their past lives. "These are the seekers," my angel explained. "They have embraced the light but are not yet ready to move on. They are here to learn, to grow, and to heal." I felt a pull toward one group of souls gathered in a circle. They were discussing their past experiences, their words resonating in my mind like echoes. Each soul was surrounded by a subtle glow that seemed to shift and brighten as they shared their insights. One woman, whose presence felt particularly strong, caught my attention. She was speaking about a lifetime of wealth and privilege, describing how she had neglected opportunities to help others. "I thought my success was mine alone," she said, her tone heavy with regret. "Now I see how much I could have done, how much love I withheld." Her words struck a chord in me. How often had I clung to my own comforts, ignoring the needs of those around me? The lesson was clear: love is not a finite resource, and its true power lies in its ability to multiply when shared. Suddenly, the golden light intensified, and I felt an overwhelming presence enter the realm. It was not just light, but a love so profound it brought me to my knees. I knew without a doubt who it was: Jesus. He didn't appear as I had imagined him in Sunday school paintings. There were no flowing robes or golden halos, only a radiant being whose eyes held infinite compassion. His gaze met mine, and in that instant, every doubt, fear, and wound I had ever carried dissolved. "Elena," he said, his voice both gentle and commanding, "you are loved beyond measure. But there is much work yet to be done." He extended his hand, and as I took it, a flood of images filled my mind. I saw the ripple effects of love, how a single act of kindness could change the course of a life, how forgiveness could break chains of bitterness, and how hope could pierce the darkest shadows. "You were given the gift of life," he continued, "not just for your own growth, but to be a light for others. Your journey is not over." I wanted to stay in his presence forever, but I understood what he meant. My time on earth wasn't finished. There were still lessons to learn and love to give. With a final loving glance, Jesus released me, and I felt myself descending back through the layers of reality. My guardian angels stayed by my side, their light guiding me until I was once again hovering over the scene of the accident. I saw paramedics working frantically to revive me. One of them, a young woman with determined eyes, was performing CPR while another administered an injection. My body looked lifeless, but I felt no fear. Will I remember all of this? I asked my angel. You will remember what you need to, they replied, and you will carry the rest in your soul, where it will guide you. With that, I felt a jolt, and the next thing I knew, I was gasping for air, pain coursing through my chest. The paramedics' voices blurred together as they realized I was alive. It's been a year since that day, and not a moment passes without me thinking of what I experienced. I've returned to my teaching, but with a new sense of purpose. Every interaction, every choice, feels infused with the knowledge that we are all part of something far greater than ourselves. I've shared my story with those who are open to hearing it, hoping to inspire others to seek the light, to love more deeply, and to trust that even in our darkest moments, we are never truly alone. My near-death experience taught me that life is a gift, a sacred journey of love and learning. And though I know my time on earth is finite, I no longer fear death. I've seen the realms beyond, and they are filled with a love that surpasses all understanding.